All right, hello everyone. We are excited that you have chosen to spend a little bit of your Friday with us. Thank you for being here. My name is Christy Choice and I'm on the team here at Tenstreet, and I am joined today by Libby. We are going to be talking about Tenstreet's marketing automation. All right, you might think that you have a really good handle on understanding what it is, but we're going to go high and we're going to go low. I don't know. Before we jump in, let's let Libby just introduce herself and her role here at Tenstreet before we get into the housekeeping rules.
Yeah, thanks, Christy. Hi, I'm Libby. I've been at Tenstreet for, gosh, it'll be almost 8 years in October, which feels like a very long time. And I'm on our MarTech team, which stands for Marketing Technology. I help build your drip campaigns. I help you with reporting on how your leads worked out for you, your marketing leads, if they convert to a full IntelliApp, if they got hired. I kind of just am kind of a nerd on demand for you guys in terms of marketing. So if you guys have questions about marketing, setting it up, I'm pretty much the person you chat with.
Yes, Libby, you are so knowledgeable in so many wonderful things here at Tenstreet, and we are so happy that you're here today. So myself, I am on the professional services team, so it's a wing of client success. We want to see you win, which is why we do so many webinars every single month. And so with that being the case, I assist with lots of different things, and you might have even seen me on the road because I do a little bit of traveling, but we're excited today to jump into our topic. Now, before we get on in, I want to give you some housekeeping rules. We're glad you're here, and we want you to engage with us. So there is a questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. You don't have to wait till the end when we ask for questions. Go ahead and type your questions in now. There may be times when I just kind of pause and we get those questions answered as we go. But either way, our goal is to make sure that you leave here with a really great understanding of the marketing automation that we're going to talk about today. The second thing, you're going to receive a copy of this recording in about 24 hours, okay? So you'll be able to share it and all that good stuff, and you'll be able to refer back to it. So make sure you are on the lookout for a copy of the recording, again, in about 24 hours. And then the last thing here is in the GoToWebinar control panel at the top, you have the ability to take little screenshots. I always like to point it out because they're really, really cool features. If we're saying something or displaying something on the screen and you're like, oh, I want to refer back to it, just go ahead and do a screen capture in the GoToWebinar control panel, or at the top of the screen rather, and then it'll save right to your desktop. So, you know, helpful little tip and a little trick right there. But let's go ahead and jump on in. Never miss a driver, how Tenstreet Marketing Automation helps you fill your trucks and frees up your team. Okay, so we want to start with talking about what an email drip campaign is. Now, if you've ever been to a grocery store or visited, let's say a department store, even like a Lowe's, Home Depot, Target, any of those type of stores, and signed up to be on their email distribution lists or done any online shopping, you've probably already experienced this and you might not have even known. So the other day I went in the Home Depot, I was grabbing some things, and you put your rewards number in and they're going to start sending you emails. Oh, hey, your next purchase is going to be 5% off, or this is going to happen, right? So those are types of marketing campaigns that are out there. Also, if you are like some folks and like to do a lot of online shopping, if you click that put something in your cart, they're going to remind you, right? Those are different types of drip campaigns, and those are email campaigns that go out to different populations. And what it's meant to do is a few steps here. And so we're talking about the form subscription, okay, the welcome email, the follow-ups, 1, 2, 3. And so they put you on a marketing email cadence so that you can start to receive communications from them. And retailers do this in a lot of different ways. So this is not something that is completely abstract or foreign. I just wanted to kind of take the opportunity to frame it a little bit more. Libby, what else would you say about what a general campaign is?
You kind of hit the nail on the head with that. There's a lot of different ways that, especially online marketing, will use different campaigns, especially once they have your email. So if you visit a site, if you have different cookies on your website and you on your computer and you visit One, so for me, I do this a lot, especially in the springtime when I'm buying a lot of flowers online, and then I get emails for flowers. This isn't necessarily a drip campaign, but it also follows me to my Instagram. It's completely all my flower companies. But those are different ways that people can track based off of, hey, did you visit in the past day? Did you look at this picture? Did you look at that one? Kind of as just a wide picture of what a drip campaign could be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so today we'll be talking about some marketing automation. And so in Tenstreet speak, a drip campaign can be an email or text campaign that targets a specific population in your database. Now, if you are in your Tenstreet dashboard right now, you might have already interacted with drip campaigns. You might have already done some, but today we're going to talk about what they are and how they are used to help you really engage with that population. Okay. And so again, we can configure email drip campaigns or texting campaigns, and they can, there's different ways that you might want to engage with those populations. Some people are like, oh, my drivers only respond to text, and others are like, hey, we love email, let's do it this way. But there are lots of different ways to configure the drip campaigns. We're going to talk about that today. Again, it's more of a set it and forget it type of thing, but we know that there is another step in that cycle. Yeah, you want to set it and forget it, but every once in a while, we want you to revisit those campaigns to make sure you're getting the most, return on the investment for the drip marketing tool.
Yeah, just as Christy said, I have a lot of people that when we first talk about drip campaigns, they ask, well, how do I turn it on for a specific person? How do I make sure it's going to them? And that's why I call it kind of like a backpack tool. It rides on the backs of what your recruiters are doing. So as your recruiters are changing a status, adding a tag, doing things that they normally do as part of their recruiting life and their Tenstreet dashboard, this is just going behind the scenes and following up based on data put in by your recruiting team, by your operations team, by all these different people editing the subject. So there's nothing, once you have a drip campaign on, there's really nothing you need to do to like press go. It just follows along and keeps up with you guys.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about as we continue here, because when you have drip campaigns in place, it's really important that your team is using the system consistently so that you're not missing adding that driver to the population that is going to be reached out to via those drip campaigns. So we're going to get into it. All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
So why would you need a drip or what we call a job board scrubber? Well, that kind of fits into two different categories for me. One is to systematically market to your leads. You're paying a lot of money for marketing to get these people to fill out lead forms. Marketing is a really big part of a lot of people's budgets. And you want to make sure that, hey, I think a personal touch is always great, making sure that someone's calling out, reaching out during a phone call, but kind of warming them up with an email or a text message, making sure that those are systematically sent out to all of your leads is just fantastic. So that's one reason why you might want something, is just to say, hey, I'm spending a lot of money on these different lead generations, and I want to make sure that we are communicating with them. And part of that is also to save your recruiters time crafting emails. I know that they probably have some email templates that they use, but going in there is sending out the template, filling out people's names does take a little bit of time for each subject. And then when you look across all the different subjects your recruiting team touches, that can be a lot of time. Or even if you're just a recruiting team of one, that's a lot of your personal time being taken up sending out emails when we can automate it for you. And so that way, it's also another thing that drip campaigns do is they don't take time off. So if someone fills out a lead form at 8 o'clock at night, they could possibly get a drip campaign from us a little bit later on that evening. Drip campaigns don't take holidays. They don't take weekends off. For texting, we don't text overnight because that's a little weird, but for emails, we will, if they fill out a lead form at 3 o'clock in the morning, they could get an email from people asking to fill out a full IntelliApp later on that same morning. So it's really quick to get back in touch with them. And that's just another one of the many reasons you would need a drip campaign, is again for that systematic reaching out, mining out those leads, and also just saving a bunch of time. We're talk a lot about marketing and using this to remarket to your leads, but we also see a lot of people use drip campaigns as their applicants are deeper in the funnel, honestly, just to make sure that they get the exact same information about orientation, that they, just saving time on something that the information doesn't really change day to day. So those are some good reasons why you might even need a job board scrubber or a drip campaign. And you might be wondering, hey, we're saying the word job board scrubber a lot. What is job board scrubber? Well, for us, job board scrubber is a very specific drip campaign. I actually used to be a math teacher, and so I get a little mathy with this, but stay with me even if you're not super into math. But I say that a drip campaign is a rectangle, right? It can be different sizes, but there's pretty much one size, like one, they have to be right angles, but you can be long, you can be tall, it's a rectangle. Job board scrubber is a square, meaning it's a very specific type of rectangle. For us, job board scrubber is a very specific type of drip campaign. We commonly shorten it down to JBS here internally. So if you ever hear us say JBS, or later on in this slide deck, I do use JBS a lot because typing out job board scrubber is a lot, but it's actually our most widely adopted campaign, and it has one purpose. It reaches out to your fresh, hot leads that have not yet completed a full IntelliApp with the call to action of, hey, I'm going to need you to fill out this full IntelliApp to move forward. We typically target people that are in new, reapply, or attempting contact. Usually we don't reach out to people if they're made contact with the recruiter, so they're in that recruiting status, because the recruiter can share a lot of information with them and kind of give more information that way. But again, it's that very specific type of call to action. I like to call it leads insurance. I said earlier that it's a good way to systematically reach out to your leads. Well, if you start a new ad campaign and you don't quite realize, oh, we've gotten a really big influx of leads and my recruiting team can't keep up with it. Well, it is kind of nice to have this email and texting campaign to fall back on, knowing, well, okay, the recruiting team is human. There's only so many hours in a day. They're going to call the people they can, and then a job board scrubber is going to pick up the slack and help and reach out to every single person. I also tell people that with job board scrubber, recruiters can kind of flip how their day works. In the morning, they can come in and see what new full IntelliApps have come in from your job board scrubber and reach out to those full IntelliApps first. Or they can look at those full IntelliApps and say, oh, this person's definitely not qualified. They don't have my experience that I need, or I can see that they listed an accident that I know I'm not going to be able to pass, and they can disposition them quickly and then move on with their day. So it is a great way to kind of speed up the process of not only once you get that full IntelliApp, but kind of decide, hey, what do I want to do with it? And then again, reach back out to them once you get that full application. So job board scrubber is one of our more widely adopted campaigns, and I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of it. And then you also might be thinking, well, if that's job board scrubber, well, what's the difference between a drip campaign and job board scrubber? Well, I already kind of mentioned it. A job board scrubber is a very specific drip campaign. But in terms of drip, we try to typically reach out to people that are a little deeper in your funnel. Usually it's to subjects with a full IntelliApp, but really I tell people if you can dream it, we can drip it. So it can cover a large range of campaign types. Sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it's reminding drivers, like just a reminder campaign. Hey, this is what's going on here, this is what's going on there. There can be different types of call to actions. So with job board scrubber, the call to action is fill out that full IntelliApp. With a drip campaign, the call to action could be, hey, you filled out a full IntelliApp and then you dropped off the face of the earth and it's been less than 30 days. That full IntelliApp is still valid. Call me back or email me, get in touch, show me some signs of life. That can be a drip campaign. A drip campaign can be, hey, don't forget you have orientation scheduled. There might not even be a call to action except for just to be reminded. We're going to go through and talk about more specifically how you can set up a population for a drip campaign. But again, just think about is there a place where my recruiters or my processing team is sending out the same information on the same cadence, or I want to re-engage with people very systematically? And that probably means that it's going to be a drip campaign. So that's the difference. Again, job board scrubber is going to be very, very much top of funnel, those hot, fresh leads to try to get them to fill out that full application. And a drip campaign might be a little bit more deeper in that funnel. They might have a deeper relationship with you. We think of filling out a full IntelliApp as taking a step deeper into that funnel. They could be going through processing. That could be a rehire or someone that's terminated that you want them to come back. Tons of different reasons that you would need a drip campaign and things that we can use drip campaigns for.
Yes. Well, Libby, this is already so great because you're giving us lots of use cases for drip versus drop board scrubber. And I hope everybody out here is understanding the different ways that each of these campaign types can be used. And so one of the things I love that you said, if you can dream it, we can drip it. Okay. So I'm like, I wrote that down because I was like, yes, I mean, you're saying that. I love it. I love it. And I just wanted to remind everyone out there, if you have questions, yes, we're covering a lot of information, but if you have questions, go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar control panel under questions, and we'll make sure those get queued up for later on in today's webinar. All right, let's keep rolling.
Yeah. So something that we've been mentioning a lot is if you have a population you want to reach out to. Well, some of you might be wondering, well, what do you mean by a population? And really, it's the search screen. Really, anything on the search screen can be part of a population. At this point, I do kind of joke that looking at the search screen on your Tenstreet dashboard, I am Mufasa and you guys are Simba. And if you've seen The Lion King, you know that Mufasa says, everything the light touches, this is your kingdom. Everything the search screen touches can pretty much be used for a drip campaign. Technically, we could reach out and do a drip campaign to everyone whose first name is Bob. I'm going to have a lot of questions. We might not build it because it's a little creepy, but technically, yeah, we can do that. So anything on the applicant search page can be used. That's going to be their status, their work list. We can even do zip code and state. So if they're in a specific zip code range, radius or state that you want to reach out to, we can do that. Even tag values. We're going to go into tag values later on and see what different types of campaigns can really be fueled by tag values. But this is just another reminder, as Christy said earlier, the better kept up your data is with tagging, with statuses, the better use for drip campaigns there can be. So if you don't terminate your drivers in Tenstreet, well, we don't know who's terminated or not. If we want to send out a hired campaign to people that are not driving for you, if they're still in that hired status, could get that campaign. So for that reason, I'm kind of really into data cleanliness. I'm a data cleanliness nerd. And so if you don't know how to automatically apply tags on a status change or any of that stuff, that's a great thing to learn, and then it'll help fuel your drip campaigns. But yeah, when we say population, again, it's a status, it could be a work list, it could be a date tag, it could be a not qualified reason tag drop down, it could even be states and zip codes. All of that can be used for a population. And whenever we kind of fill out that population, you're going to have a call with me or my teammate Grant, and we're going to fill out a spreadsheet that looks like this. So this is us building out that population. We're going to have different statuses that we could include or exclude. Typically we do include, but you can say, hey, I want to email anyone except for these specific statuses, drip campaign. I want to include these tags. I want to include these work lists. I want to include or exclude these sources. Again, source in Tenstreet means what type of application did they fill out. So we can do it based on the source as well, city, state, and zip. And that's really what I mean by that population. We just get on a call and we define that together. What problem are you trying to solve? And how can we put out that population to address that need? Now, we've talked about this a little bit before of, hey, like you can use a drip campaign for this, you can use a drip campaign for that. We've got tags we could utilize, we've got statuses. Sometimes, if, you know, as I said earlier, if you can drip it, we can drip it. That might be a little broad for some people. And you're like, gosh, I need a little bit of guidance. I don't know what I want to do with this. It seems like a very wide, useful tool, but I don't know what I need. So here are some common drip campaigns that we build out. I already mentioned Job Board Scrubber. As I said, that's our most widely adopted drip campaign. If you're getting over 200 leads a month, then Job Board Scrubber would be a really good tool for you to use to just make sure you're reaching out to all those different leads. But in terms of other drip campaigns, we have Attempting Contact installed. That, as I mentioned before, is going to be a campaign that reaches out to your IntelliApps that have just ghosted you. They went through and they filled out that long IntelliApp, even though it does auto pre-populate, so it's not that much of their time, but they've gone through the whole thing. They've signed releases. They gave you naming rights to their firstborn. They filled out that full thing. It's a DOT compliant application, and then they went away. Well, especially if they're based off that full application, if they look to be qualified, you want to try to bring them back. And so that's why we have an Attempting Contact or stalled campaign to go after people and attempting contact and no response. I know some of you guys out there do attempting contact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25, whatever. We can use all of those statuses for your attempting contact campaign. Were you going to say something, Christy?
No, you mentioned the attempting contact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have a love-hate relationship with those. So if you're out there and you have those multiple attempting contact statuses, hey, there's no judgment. We have love for you. Or if you just have that one attempting contact, either way, there are ways for you to use drip campaigns to make sure that population is being reached out to. I just kind of giggle though, because we have seen it go a little bit overboard, right? And I'm like, is this like best practice? Not really, but every carrier is different. So the unique ways that you may use the dashboard are completely different from how someone else would. Tenstreet is so highly configurable, so we want to make sure you have the optimal setup for your account, and therefore you're able to use some of these tools to the best of the tool's abilities. And of course, with Libby and Grant's help.
Yes. And so, yes, don't think that a drip campaign has to only attack one status. That attempting contact installed campaign, we want that attempting contacts or multiple attempting contacts in there. We want your no response. Anything that says this person I'm trying to get a hold of, or I've gotten tired and decided to give up on getting a hold of them, but I have not yet spoken to them. Those multiple statuses can be one population. So we are good to go to attack those. That brings me to not qualified. This is one where I love using tags specifically in a not qualified campaign, because some people are what I call forever not qualified. We don't want to reach out to those people. But sometimes you get someone and there's just something on their MVR and they might be off in a couple months, or they're not quite at your experience. They are just don't have enough, but they're like only short by 3 months, by 8 months, whatever. If you are tagging those drivers for the reason why they're not qualified, we can say, hey, I want to reach out to people in a not qualified status, and only if they have these reasons for being not qualified. And then to even level it up a little bit more, you could have a reconnect date to say, hey, I think this person is going to be qualified on this date. And we can actually start sending out drip campaigns on their date tag. So if you say, hey, Christy's not qualified right now, she's great to chat with, I think she's going to like our pay packages. We've talked about home time that fits. The only thing that doesn't fit is I need her to have a few more months of car hauling. And she's with her old company, she is car hauling there, I just need a little bit more time. So I'm going to tag her to reconnect 2 months from now. And that recruiter can go back and use those tags to find that person and can reconnect. Or you can lean on your drip campaign and say, hey, I want this drip campaign to start for Christy specifically 2 months from now, because I think that's when she's going to be qualified. So you can use a lot of those tags to be very specific to those drivers. If you don't use a reconnect tag date, that's totally fine. We can say, hey, have these drivers sit and wait in this not qualified status. And once they've been in that not qualified status for 6 months, for 3 months, it can't be configurable for individuals. It has to be for the whole dashboard. But we can say, hey, after people have been not qualified for 6 months, 8 months, whatever, and if they have these tags, start this drip campaign. And so we see a lot of good responses from that, where, hey, the driver might call back versus reply back and say, hey, like, what's going on now, what's good. So that's great for not qualified. Those are all campaigns to kind of remarket to your drivers. These other campaigns, or this next one, is more about just time saving, orientation scheduled. Your orientation might not, the details of your orientation might not change from day to day. It might always start on Monday. You might always have lunch catered in. You might always need them to do some tasks on driver pulls before they come in. You just need to remind them about it. Orientation scheduled is fantastic for this. If they're in an orientation status, or if they have an orientation date tag, we can use all of that to reach out to them. We can say, hey, send an email on status change, so that's the status, and then send a text 2 days before their tagged orientation date to say, hey, this is your recruiter reaching out, making sure that we're all good for orientation 2 days from now. If anything's wrong, please respond back to this text message. And so that's a great way to get them involved. I also have a lot of clients that either send out, bus confirmation numbers or hotel confirmation numbers. Those are typically stored in a tag. Well, what's great with the drip campaign, we're going to go into this a little bit later and show you how it works a little later in this presentation, but any tag value I can plop into the message. So I can say, hey, Christy, can't wait to see your orientation on your orientation date. Don't forget you're staying at this hotel and this is your hotel confirmation number. So once your recruiter types it into that tag value, they only have to type it in once and then we send it on out. So that's super duper helpful there. And so that's orientation scheduled. Then the next one, a rehire campaign. Rehires are fantastic because you already know that they worked once, they left on good terms. They didn't leave the truck stranded somewhere. They were a good driver. They thought that they could go someplace else and find someplace better. Well, if you're tagging them terminated, statusing them terminated and tagging them eligible for rehire, we can reach back out to them. We typically start this campaign with what we call a white glove exit email. And that is on first status change, just saying, hey, thanks so much for the time we had together. I hope you stay safe on the road. You left in such great standing. If you ever want to come back, feel free, but enjoy your life on the road, stay safe, see you later. So that's letting them know, hey, it's a warm goodbye. And then we could start 90 days later, 6 months later, going back and saying, hey, was the grass really greener over there? Do you want to come back? We'd love to have you back. Just kind of getting those rehires back, because rehires are fantastically cheap, which from marketing is fantastic. I love it. I love a cheap hire. And so that would be a rehire campaign. And a high priority campaign. This one is one where, just to be a little frank, it does take a little bit more from your side, from the client side, to make this campaign work. But let's say that you have a changing hiring area or changing hiring needs. Let's say you're a third-party recruiter and you have your clientele shifts and you need to reach out to different people. This campaign is more about geography. You might have a hiring need. Let's say we need to reach out to people in Columbus, Ohio. You just got a new lane there. You need to reach out to people in Columbus, Ohio. And so you might mine your previous applicants who live in Ohio or live 30 miles around a zip code, 30 miles around a radius of a zip code in Columbus. We can do on both. I have some clients that they get really good success from this one, but they email me about once every 2 weeks or once a month with their new hiring areas. So this one does work really well, but again, it takes a little bit more work on your end. But all you do is you tell us where your hiring areas change. We update that targeting on our back end, and those people now get that drip campaign because you're actively hiring in that area. So again, these are just kind of the common types of drip campaigns based on the different needs of your company. We've had more specific ones, but typically these are ones that we build pretty often. Awesome.
Woo.
Now, yeah, that was a long.
It was, you might want to take a sip of water. Bravo, Libby. You're doing an amazing job. And I loved how you talked about the comment types, because if you can dream it, we can build it is that's very big for some folks. And you're like, look, I need to use my brain power for other stuff. I'm going to ask for some help. And these are really, really great examples of the ways that drip campaigns can be used. Now, I want to remind you all that what we're talking about today is automation, right? So as soon as those candidates fit the parameters for whatever drip type it is, these communications are going to them automatically. So again, this is something you configure and you revisit, but largely it's going to just keep going like a well-oiled machine. Now, Libby, we did have one question here, and I feel like it's okay to get this one answered right now, but where will the responses to text go? Right. So for a texting campaign, they need to have texting as a part of the package, right? I think that's a given, but those texts go back to the texting number. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So I'm here in our demo account right now, and I am a recruiter, Piper. Don't know how to use the last name, but I'm Piper, and a drip campaign is going on. If one of my drivers who's assigned to me replies back either through email or text message, they both work the same, I'm going to get a little ding in my bell right here under messages. And I can click on that, and just like they would reply to a one-off email that I sent them personally, if they reply to a drip campaign, it would show up here as well. So I can click on it, it would pull up that subject, and I'd see them in their communications view, and I would see, hey, if it was a bulk email, which we're going to talk about in a second, it would show here. If that person got a drip campaign, it would say the name of the drip campaign here, and then we'd have that response, and we can just pick up on the conversation as if it was us that sent out that email. And so it was going to notify the assigned recruiter, hey, there's an email for you, or a text message, and they'd go there. If you don't have an assigned recruiter, we actually just set up one person on your dashboard to be that default person. So I definitely do suggest, if you have a recruiting team, definitely do utilize assigning people so they can see, hey, what's coming in and coming out. But if you don't have assigned people, or if you don't have routing rules that systematically do assign people to everyone, we just need one person that is really good about checking their messages, and they can see, oh, there's a message, but I think Sarah is actually working with this person. So I can just note, Sarah, hey, there's a response here, go ahead and reply back. But it's going to live, both the drip messages to and the responses from are going to live inside this communications view right here on the subject view. Yeah, that's a great.
Yes, that was a really, really, really great question. And so we are, and I think it was really perfect to segue into the next topic. We're going to be talking about bulk messaging versus drip campaigns, right? And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel, because we want every single attendee today to walk away with some information and having your questions answered. So don't hold back. Let us know what questions we can answer. Let's talk about bulk messaging now.
Yeah. And so again, some of you guys might be thinking, hey, I've been bulk messaging for a bit. Why wouldn't I just keep on bulk messaging versus doing a drip campaign? And there's some good reasons to keep with bulk messaging. Bulk messaging definitely has its part. And there's some good reasons and good systems where a drip campaign makes a little bit more sense. One of the reasons why I really like drip campaigns, because again, data nerd for your marketing over here, we keep metrics and reporting. So that's built into the tool. We're going to show you what that looks like in a minute, but I can say, hey, this month, how many messages did my drip campaign send out? How many full IntelliApps did I get back as a response to that campaign? What's my read rate, right? What's my open rate? Or what's my unsubscribe rate? You can see all that stuff and see the health of your drip campaigns. Versus with your bulk messaging, since that's just kind of a shotgun blast out, we don't really keep a lot of metrics on that. If you're using bulk messaging, I highly recommend putting a referral code on any IntelliApp links you put in that bulk message, because then you can see the click rate, at least on that referral code. So it's really helpful there. But again, that's one of the reasons a drip campaign is a paid feature. So with that paid feature, you do get more metrics and more reporting than just a bulk message. Another thing about bulk message versus drip campaigns, has to do with the user experience. And for this, please just go on a little analogy ride with me. But I think of a bulk message like a roller coaster. Everyone's lined up, so you've gone to your search screen, you've said, hey, I want to make this into a bulk message. You queued up that amount of people, and then you load them onto the roller coaster ride and you click go, and they all finish the ride together. They're all on the same ride, getting the messages at the exact same time. If you do a bulk series, and let's say you have a day 1 message and a day 7 message, even if that subject status has changed between day 1 and day 7, they're still on that roller coaster ride, and they're still going to get that day 7 email. They're all in this together, kind of like High School Musical, but they're on that roller coaster ride together, and they're going to finish that ride at the same time. Versus drip campaigns are more like a Ferris wheel. I can be in the middle of my drip campaign getting my day 30 email, and Christy can just be entering that population and getting that day 1 email. Once my status changes, my ride can end and other drivers' rides can keep on going. It's very much specific to that driver. So that's a little bit of the difference between the bulk message and the drip campaign. Bulk messages are free and they definitely do have their place. I love it. If maybe for some reason you're like, my hiring area doesn't change that often enough for me to need a high priority drip campaign, but I have one specific need where I just changed it just this one time, do a bulk message, because that'll still kind of prime people to reply back. You have a job word scrubber, put a lead application link in that bulk message, it'll prime your job word scrubber and it can all ride along together. So there's good reasons to have both, but that's just kind of how I see the difference. A roller coaster ride where we're all in this together and we're finishing and starting the ride at the same time, versus a Ferris wheel where it's in and out. And going into that, talking differently about the metrics, I have some screenshots about the different metrics you can see in the drip campaign. We're going to get into the drip campaign tool, but in the later on in this presentation. But in the demo account, we're actually not sending out emails because the people in the demo account don't exist. So they don't have those metrics. So I took some screenshots so you can see what the metrics look like. This is on the very first time when you log into your drip tool, which we're going to show you how to get to in a second if you have a drip campaign. What are these common metrics you're going to see? And so typically people do drip campaigns either to remind people of something. So again, not really a call to action, no really reply next needed to it. And the other thing people use drip campaigns for, to get people to reapply back to them. So our standard first thing you see metrics are how many emails did we send? Our text messages did we send? And how many applications did we get as a result? So here you can see, and I don't know if I use I'm sure you guys can see my mouse. We have 3 different campaigns here, and we have over the month to date, how many messages were sent, and how many of those were converted back to an application with a conversion rate right here. We do put some tracking on your IntelliApp codes that we put in the content of the drip campaigns, so we can see if they directly click that link inside of the email. Now, I don't know about your company, but at Tenstreet, we get told don't click a link all the time. If you're not expecting it, if you don't know who sent you that email, I should say, we kind of just lean on the safety side and just say, hey, don't click that link. And we kind of expect that maybe some truck drivers are a little skeptical of links sent to them when they weren't expecting it either. So we do track those drivers who receive a drip campaign for a few days after that drip campaign to see, did they fill out an IntelliApp someplace else? It's pretty common to get for a driver to get an email or a text message from a drip campaign, and then to call the recruiter back to say, hey, like, I want to talk to a person, what's going on with this? I'm on my reset and I just want to chat someone's ear off. I'm going to call someone. And as we're talking to that recruiter can say, hey, just go to our website. You know, here's our website. We have different jobs on there. See which one kind of fits for you and apply there. Well, it was the drip campaign that got them in contact. They just didn't do the application through the drip campaign. So you want to see how it's working just from a attributed status. So that's this direct and attributed over here. And the sum of direct and attributed is your converted number over here. So that's just a little ways of how to see that. And we have all of your campaigns here as well. In this tool, you can not only see the campaign, but if you wanted to click this drop down, you'd also see what status those people are in. So you could see, hey, of my job word scrubber emails that sent this month, where are they kind of landing in a status? Are we getting a lot of no responses, not qualified? Is anyone in the hiring pipeline getting processed, getting orientation scheduled? You can see all that in here as well. And then we have more advanced metrics as well. This is just the default on that page because, again, a lot of the drip campaigns people build are all about getting those full applications as a result. But sometimes you want to see, hey, is my email campaign, is it annoying? Are they even reading it? What's going on? How can I improve this drip campaign? And we have different ways for you to look at the health of your drip campaign. I'm going to show you how to find this in the tool. But one of the ways you can see is you can see, hey, for this most recent quarter, what was my read rate for this campaign? And so we do have it as a graph down here. The chart below shows the exact same thing. For this email campaign, Job Word Scrubber, day one had an open rate of 46%. Now, I don't know about you guys, I hate read receipts. If someone puts a read receipt on an email, I say do not send, because that's my information, not your information. So drivers might be like that too. We actually don't have a read receipt. Like there's not a way for the driver to say, don't send this read receipt. How we do our read receipts is we put a little, it's kind of like a pixel, which is just one little tiny image in that email. If that image gets downloaded, when they open that email, it fires off to us, hey, this isn't open. So we have a really accurate read rate, even if they don't want you to know, just like me, that, hey, I read this message. So our read rate is really accurate, and we do a great job of trying to make sure that's a healthy read rate. Almost half of your recipients reading an email, like actually opening it, is actually really, really good. So this one is a pretty healthy email campaign. We also are able to show you how many people unsubscribed. I love checking the unsubscribe rate specifically on text messages. People are really sensitive to their phone, which is great because if they're going to reply, if you text them, they're going to probably reply to you a little bit more. But if you bug them, if you text them too much, they're going to unsubscribe. And we don't want them to unsubscribe because we want to make sure you can remarket back to them. So I do check those unsubscribe rates. Anything above 5% makes the hackles rise. We're going to get onto that. So there's different ways for you to check, you personally, the health of your drip campaign, especially because you're paying for it. You want to make sure that it's doing as well as it can for you.
Oh, this is so great. So we did get 2 or 3 more questions in here, and one of them you answered because we were talking about the ability to track the unsubscribes that right here in the tool. And it says, if a driver unsubscribes, how quickly does Tenstreet update and suppress them across those campaigns?
Oh, darn near immediately. So that's pretty darn immediate. When they do click on unsubscribe in the email, it actually takes them to either the Pulse app or the Pulse portal, and they're able to even look at their subscriptions for other companies as well. So we really want to make sure that drivers are getting messages from people that they want to get messages from. We want to make sure that drivers feel in control about, when they fill out an email, I'm sure they get drip campaigns from us. They might get something from, if they fill out something through Indeed, they might get an email from Indeed. They get inundated with application or with emails and text messages when someone applies somewhere. So we want to make sure that the drivers feel in control and know, hey, if I'm getting an email from a drip campaign on Tenstreet, it's information that I want and information that I have control over. We have a very low unsubscribe rate because we're pretty sensitive to the driver and how often we're going to message them and things like that. We want to make sure that your unsubscribe rate stays super duper low.
Absolutely. And that was leading into that person's second question, was about controlling the frequency, because we don't want drivers to be over communicated with, just like you don't. And so it is, really an amalgamation of the 2 worlds coming together, right? Because we don't want drivers to be over contacted, because then it dilutes the power of the campaign in general. So yes, when you meet with Libby and Grant, they're going to go over the parameters with you, and we make sure that even if you use like the bulk messaging, it's counting all of those communications that are going out. Libby, what else would you say about that?
Yeah, so the other member of the MarTech team, Grant, he and I have gone to what we lovingly call spam boot camp. And so we know spam is kind of a really hard thing to describe and define, but you know it when you see it. If you want to message your drivers that do not work for you monthly until the end of time, that's spammy, and we're not going to build it for you. So that's one of the reasons you have a call with us. This isn't an issue most of the time, but we really do want to make sure that we are not annoying the drivers or any of that stuff. So that is something that we help you with, we guide you with. We do have some limitations based on how deep that relationship is with your drivers. So for example, with the job board scrubber, we typically stop a job board scrubber after a week. We can go longer. We just don't see a lot of application volume after that week, and we want to make sure we're not poisoning that well. We can go a little bit longer, but we do have a hard stop at 30 days, because if a lead application hasn't engaged in 30 days, they might not on that hiring cycle. But drivers enter and do hiring cycles multiple times a year, so we don't want to overdo one hiring cycle to forsake the ones in the future. So we make sure to, hey, this doesn't look spammy, this does look spammy, and we really do try to build it so that we keep you guys in mind. So there are some limitations on there. Again, the whole idea is that drivers apply a lot, and we just don't want to poison the well on one hiring cycle to, again, forsake the rest of them.
For sure. I think that was a really perfect response, Libby, right? Because we want to make sure that this automation tools are helpful to you. And so we're going to be using the expertise that this team has gained over the years to help you to create drip campaigns and a job board scrubber campaign that fits for what you're looking to do and really kind of partners with you to make it happen. I love it. Now, we do have two other questions. One of them leads right into the next slide. This person said, hey, is the option to activate a drip campaign already in my tools? And so how could someone start setting up drip campaigns or job board scrubber, Libby?
Perfect. Email anyone with a Tenstreet email address. Just say, hey, I want a drip campaign. We will get you to my team. If you're like, nah, I don't want people to have to play telephone, although we do it very quickly because we know there's a lot of Tenstreet people that help you with your dashboard. So you have tons of different contacts. If you want to come straight to my team, we have a shared inbox, and that is martech@tenstreet.com. So martech@tenstreet.com. That gets to my team. Just say, I would like to build a drip campaign. We will send you a link to schedule a chat. Again, we do build drip campaigns on a Zoom call, because we want to make sure, hey, are we addressing the population you want, all that kind of fun stuff. But if you want directly to the source, martech@tenstreet.com. If this is a few days later and you're like, I don't know, account.managers@tenstreet.com. Your advisor is someone you can reach out to. Anyone's going to get you to my team, especially if you say drip. We'll get you here.
Oh, yes. Now is the time, because we've been having such a good discussion, but we do want to show you what's in the Tenstreet dashboard for these tools. So Libby's going to transition the screen to show you the live demo, but there was a really good question that came up. And so someone said, how does Tenstreet ensure recruiters don't just assume automation will do everything? In other words, how do you balance automation versus human touch? Now, I would respond to that question and say, I love a good practical application. Okay, and so what we're talking about is the configuration of the tools, training your team, coaching the correct behavior, and then optimizing your system, revisiting it on an ongoing basis. We don't want to assume or want recruiters to assume that automation is doing everything. And so it's going to be configured with the problem that you're trying to solve in mind. You're going to train your team on what to do and what not to do, as far as how to move them into the correct statuses, what the campaigns are intended to do, and then you're going to coach them on the proper use of Tenstreet, right? And so that's something that I do on my team. I am available to all Tenstreet clients, and I work directly with them to make sure their teams are trained and that you are optimizing the use of your Tenstreet dashboard. Again, a lot of it is set it and forget it, but that doesn't mean that we never revisit or we never go back. And so you might have seen someone reach out to you to say, hey, schedule an account review or schedule an optimization call. Those are folks on our advisory team and on our account management teams. And let me tell you, you want to say yes to those calls, because that's how you really dig into all of the wonderful things that Tenstreet has to offer. And that's just one of the few ways that you can make sure that your team is trained, coached, and stays up to date with all of the wonderful things that we have going on at Tenstreet. I could talk about this forever, but let's get into the demo.
Yeah. So if you have a drip campaign, and we can also restrict this to certain people in your company. So not everyone needs access to this, but you will have a drip marketing tool right here. And this should have that nice little summary page I showed you in the PowerPoint. But again, this is demo, so we're not sending emails out to people that don't exist, so it's not showing here. But under this config tab, this is where you can actually change the content of the message at any time. My team is very happy to do that upon request. If you're like, hey, can we swap out day one to say this instead, we'll go in there and do it. But if you have a can-do attitude, you're like, I just want to get this done as of right now, you do have access to do that. And here we have a subject line, and that subject line, you'll notice these % signs wrapped around a subject first name. That's a replacement field. So you're able to pull in the subject's first name, make this very specific to them. I do notice people open up emails a little bit more if their name is in that email subject line. I usually use subject lines of how clickbaity the email is. So this is where I drive up that read rate by putting that subject line in there. Down here, I like a short and sweet email. They're reading it on their phones. I call it a rule of thumb. If they have to use their thumb to scroll it, especially on like a top of funnel email, you're doing too much. So keep it very short and sweet. If you're going to do it plain text, again, short and sweet. If you're going in and adding images, then you can make it a little bit longer because it's visually interesting to move. But if it's just plain text, don't try to sell the whole job in the email. It's overwhelming. But here we're going to fake the signature line for the recruiter. And then we actually pull in your company logo. This is the same company logo that's on your IntelliApp. So if you update your logo on your IntelliApp, now all of your drip campaigns have that exact same logo on it as well. So it's super duper simple. You can come in and change the font, the size, the color. If you know how to do this source formatting, you can come in here and code to your heart's content. I was going to show you guys how easy it is to add an image. And I have an image of a high five. It's actually a GIF. You can't put videos in like any email marketing, but GIFs, they treat that like a photo. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that image address. And now here, I want to have a big high five moment going to my drivers. I'm going to click on this little picture icon, go to the URL, paste it in here. If I don't have a URL, I can come over here and upload an image. More often than not, you guys are going to upload an image. I just don't have a lot of good images. But we're going to say, okay, and now it's there in my drip campaign, and I can save it. And the next time I do a demo, I'm going to wonder why there's a photo of high five right here, but that's possible. It's possible to do that. But yeah, we have these % signs are also going to be how we bring in, that hotel confirmation number and all that stuff. Again, that's a replacement field. I know I'm going a little fast, but we're running a little short on time. I wasn't expecting to chat this much. This tool tabs right here is where you can get that advanced reporting. So you have different campaigns you can click on and different conversion rates you can look at. And you can even do month, quarter, year, or you can click on this button right here to do a specific date range. So if you change your content on a specific date, I do this a lot of times for clients where I like mark it in a calendar or in my notes. I want to see how my read rate and unsubscribe rate was before the change and what that unsubscribe rate and read rate was after the change. I can even see how many IntelliApps started inside that email and how many were completed just like, again, if they were attributed or direct, it's going to count here for that completed. So I can see a lot of conversions here for different campaigns. So that's how we test the health of your drip campaign. And yeah, again, just anything on the search screen, we can make a drip campaign out of. And on the demo account, there's a lot of stuff here, so where you can do it all.
Oh, I love it. Oh, so this is really, really great. Now, again, we weren't expecting to be so short on time. So if you do have questions, you do have a moment or so to get those questions in. I know there's another question in here. Do you offer A/B testing options within drip campaigns to optimize messages. Now, I don't know what A/B testing options are, but Libby, does that
Yeah.
make
And A/B testing is something where to the same population, you might split in half, and half that population gets message A and half that population gets message B. I know Facebook marketing, if you use Facebook to do lead campaigns, they offer A/B testing built into the tool. We don't have that built in yet. I have faked A/B testing by just trying to find a dividing line in your applicants to say, hey, if they're with this set of recruiters, they're going to get this message, and this set of recruiters, they're going to get that message. And then, of course, test that read rate and unsubscribe rate and application rate over time. We can do it by recruiter. We can do it by location. It's not as natively built into the tool as other marketing places are, but we can fake it and get that A/B testing for you.
Oh, that's great. Okay, and I learned something. I have 4 tips that Libby taught me today. Okay, so anyway, Libby time is a really good time every single time. Okay, I am loving this. Now, you already talked to us about the replacement values, who the drip or job board scrubber message is coming from. Let's go to the messages box one more time, because I feel like sometimes people get used to like not clicking up there. And we want you to make sure that you understand how to use the communications view and where to go to see those notifications for those incoming messages so that you don't miss a beat.
Yeah. So if any drip campaign sent to a driver or a subject, it's going to live here in their communications view. So again, I'm just on a person, and then you have a drop down, and you just select communications view in that drop down. What the type of communication is, it's going to be on top. So this is a lot of pulse messaging for this specific subject. If it's a drip campaign, it's going to tell you what campaign it's a part of. So if they got a job board scrubber, if they got a not qualified, it's going to be listed here. And then if they reply to that message, you're going to get a ding in your bell. And again, here's those messages. Here's a preview of what those messages are. And so again, you can click on that and see what the response is. If Dan responded back to my messages, I could send him a message back. I could send it through a text or a pulse message right there, or I can email him back. I usually say whatever method they originally communicated with you, that's how I'm going to communicate back to them. If they did a text message to me, I'm going to text them back. If they emailed me, I'm going to email back, meet them where they are. But yeah, it's right in that communications view.
Okay, all right, this has been so great. I know we only have a couple minutes left. We have a couple of questions. So Libby, this is the bonus round where we're gonna answer a couple of questions here. Okay, so this person says, sorry if I missed it. Are there content templates or message libraries we can use for re-engagement, onboarding, or lead nurturing? And so Libby went through a few of the different types of campaigns, but she and Grant will work with you. I think, do you have some standard messaging? Tell us what that looks like, Libby.
Some standard messaging for especially job board scrubber. We have messaging for, I think we have 11 different email templates and 25 different subject lines for you to choose from. For no response, we do have some rehire templates. The more specific the drip campaign becomes, the less useful our templates are. So we don't have templates for high priority, because usually that's very specific. Hey, I'm hiring here. But if it's a pretty generic or like the not qualified campaign, we do have some generic templates for that. After a build call, depending on what type of campaign you built with us, then we send you out our Word document that are those templates. I have some people that send it back highlighted, which ones they like. I have some people that go, MarTech, take the wheel, and they go, I just want you to choose for me, and then we choose. But if we do have templates for it, then we will provide those to you. I even have some that go in there, since it is a Word document, you can even make small little edits in it and say, hey, I want this one, and we'll do it for you. So we do have templates, and then on top of that, again, you have access to change the content at any time. So if you're like, these templates aren't my favorite, but I'm going to use it to start out with, and then when I have more time, which who does get more time, but when I do get more time, I'll write out that those email campaigns on my own.
Ooh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so is there a cost associated with drip campaigns? Let's talk about that next.
Yes, there is a cost associated. The more standard your drip campaign is, means the more standard the pricing. So a standard drip campaign is IntelliApp only. And those drip campaigns are, I think we're at $185 a month for those. No, $195 a month. Job board scrubber is a little bit more specific on different metrics, so that one will have to get you quoted on. But expect to spend at least around $200 a month on a drip campaign, and that includes, as long as it's not too spammy, that doesn't limit how many messages you have. If you want to send 8 emails over 6 months and 3 text messages in a drip campaign, again, we're not going to limit you until it starts to feel spammy, then we will limit you on it. But access to a drip campaign is that population and a cadence that goes along with it.
Okay, and last question, are there any free drip campaigns? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so drip campaigns typically are paid for. We do have one that's completely free that just encourages your hired drivers to download the Pulse app. Since we're encouraging them to download our driver Pulse app, we're not going to charge you for that. So if you're using Pulse app for a lot of stuff, and I think my cat just opened up the door, I didn't know he could do that. Dinner time. But if you want to make sure that your fleet of drivers have the Pulse app downloaded, we can build that drip campaign for you. And we also put in links to your different, not job store, drip marketing, and it's Libby's test. Sorry, talking out loud, thinking out loud, but it would look something like this. We've updated the content since this time, since this message, because there's so many new things in the Driver Pulse app, but we give them links to download in the App Store and Google Play, and we can even exclude your drivers that we already know have Pulse downloaded, so they're not getting an email that they don't need, because again, we don't want to email people and have them not do a action on it, because that's kind of spammy.
Yes.
Yeah, $3.99.
Woo, we did it, Libby, and thank you so much. There's so many of you who have stuck with us through the duration. Now, the very last, if you go, there we go, the question slide. There are some email addresses, and so you can email account.managers@tenstreet.com, martech@tenstreet.com. Libby provided her email, which is libby.warren@tenstreet.com, and then myself, I'm christy.choice@tenstreet.com. All roads lead to support, help, success, and all of the wonderful things. Today, we have been talking about Drip Marketing and Job Board Scrubber, which are 2 automated tools that help you to get it done faster and to relieve some of the pressure off of your team from having to do the manual things that help you to see success when you're working in the Tenstreet system. Now, we have lots of tips and tricks to share with you, but today we really wanted to start the conversation. Thank you so much for engaging with us. Please reach out to us directly and have a really great weekend. Thanks again. This is Christy and this is Libby. All right, say bye. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm glad it wasn't my cat. Okay.
I could open the door.
Yes. Okay, I don't know how we get out of here. Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh.